Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
There is a lot to be learned for the Cowboys after their uninspiring Week 5 performance in Santa Clara. Not only did 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy pick apart Dallas's defense to improve his record to 10-0 as a starter, the Cowboys offense couldn't move the ball and took more than a quarter to gain even a single first down.
When you watch the film, the one area that jumps out that we were not as good at that we've been recently was third down. I think we had 12 third and fourth downs. I think actually 8 of them are what we would call third and manageable, 6 or less. And we only converted, I think 4. And that's not our standard. That's not what we've been. And so when you do that, and then you look back and you see the time of possession, that's kind of where, the slow start, the inability to kind of get into a rhythm, get the drive going, that's one of the areas. But overall, we didn't play very well.
We'll see if the Cowboys can bounce back against the Chargers next week. Meanwhile, Houston struggled to get its run game going in Sunday's 2-point loss to the Falcons. The Texans rushed for just 64 yards on 23 carries as running back Dameon Pierce averaged just 3.3 yards per run. Houston was 4 for 13 on third downs, which led to the team going without a touchdown until the final 2 minutes of the game, only to lose to a last-second field goal by Atlanta's Younghoe Koo.
The margin for error is slim in this league. So there's tight holes or guys, there's one guy in the hole. We have to be able to, make a guy miss. We have to, force some missed tackles there. But I think the guys blocked it well yesterday. We just have to stay after it, right? Encouraged with what we did up front yesterday from a run blocking standpoint and also in pass protection. So really proud of what the O-line is doing for us. We just have to make explosives when we can. When it's there, it may be slim, but we have to make them pay.
Still plenty to be encouraged about as the Texans are 2-3 entering their Week 6 matchup against the Saints. All right, Game 3 of the best-of-5 AL Division playoff series between Houston and Minnesota wrapping up moments ago at Target Field, and here is your final. Houston wins 9-1 after building a 6-0 lead before the Twins finally put one on the board. The Astros take a huge 2-1 lead in the series. And tonight, the Rangers are at home in position to sweep the Baltimore Orioles. Stunning after Baltimore won the American League with a league best 101 games. We'll have highlights of the Astros win tonight, and we'll see what happens with the Rangers.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Our KSAT Q&A with Mayor Ron Nierenberg is coming up next. In today's KSAT Q&A, we are joined by San Antonio Mayor Ron Nierenberg. Lots of things to talk about, but we start first with a very big project for the San Antonio Airport.
Yeah, we told you a little bit about it at 6 o'clock here, the new ground loading facility, which we saw a little bit of today. Mayor, explain that to us. I know some people out there have questions about how this all works and the heat of San Antonio, and then how do folks who might be traveling, who might be older or have some disabilities, how's this going to work for them as well? Explain the whole project to us.
Sure, yeah, and this is in the midst of the ongoing transformation of the San Antonio International Airport, adding significant capacity to meet the demand that's already here. And one of those elements, the first project, is the new ground loading facility. And you can think of this back, most airports have these types of facilities. They are terminals, essentially, where you're at grade. And when it comes time to board your flight, you actually walk out up the stairs into the airplane. A lot of carriers, several carriers use this method because they can turn planes very quickly, allows more flights to occur on a daily basis. And one of our carriers in particular, we know this is their preferred method, Viva Aerobus. So we're going to have international and domestic flights through this facility. It'll be 3 gates, which will be coming online very quickly and coming online at a time where we're at capacity. So this will allow us to add some capacity to our air service while we're undergoing an extraordinarily significant development with the new terminal coming online, which is set to begin construction next year and then ultimately opening up in 2028. This will allow us to have new capacity built in right away. So a very important project. Another indication that San Antonio Air Service is really taking off. As you know, we've just launched we've just announced transatlantic service to Frankfurt, more destinations to Mexico, and many more exciting announcements to come in the months ahead.
Mayor, I want to ask you about the Charter Review Commission. And before anybody's eyes at home glaze over about that very, local government term, this is important because it is changing the rules of our city, and voters are left to decide whether those changes actually take place. So explain how this commission works and what things you want this group to look at.
Sure. And, the city, just like the state or the country, has a constitution. The way the process for the Constitution of the state works is that legislation has to be passed and ultimately approved by voters. And so in November, voters in the state are going to go to the ballot to vote on several different proposed amendments to the Texas Constitution. Same thing happens at the local level, where in our city charter, we assemble potential changes, and those changes go on to a ballot, and the voters will have to approve or deny them based on whatever those recommendations are. So I'm assembling a citizen charter review commission. The difference here in the way we go about it is that it's very transparent. We have community involved with the decision making, and then ultimately those proposals will go forward to an election likely to be November of 2024. So I'm going to be assembling that Charter Review Commission very soon in the next few weeks. And the things I'll ask them to take a look at, some of the outdated language in our city charter, some things that have caused significant challenges for us, some things that we see that can be challenges up in the future, things like the term limit and the salary cap on the city manager, potentially also the fact that city council salaries are set at 2014 levels, so they are unchanging. And so do we want to have that indexed in some way? Do we want to add city council districts so there's more representation of our community on the council dais? Right now there's 10 council districts. It's been that way for many, many decades. Should we add some more? So these are questions I'm going to pose to the Charter Review Commission, among others, for them to consider and ultimately bring forward recommendations that would go to the public. I'm also going to make sure that there's a forum established so that things that might not make it onto the list can be considered by the Charter Review Commission as potential changes for our city charter. But ultimately, as you said, Myra, any changes that would be considered ultimately would have to go forward to the San Antonio public for voter approval.
We'll see how that list develops in the coming weeks, Mayor. This next question, not an official commission, but certainly a meeting of local leaders. I want to go back to late August, early September, where we had 6 San Antonio police officers shot while pursuing suspects. You talked then about meeting with local leaders like County Judge Peter Sakai. During that time, really of a lot of turmoil between the police department and the Bexar County DA about questions about prosecution and sufficient police work. Where have those conversations gone? Have those led to anything that is currently in the works?
Yeah, we had Judge Sakai and I convened a meeting of those top officials in our law enforcement and judiciary. And we had a good conversation and basically level set with everyone. No one wants to see these sorts of violent incidents being perpetrated in our community, let alone by folks that have prior histories and clear propensity towards violence. And so we are now allowing some of those conversations now to lead for those departments to come back with some recommendations where we'll reconvene and talk as, again, stakeholders to figure out how we move forward together very soon. And then we'll report out to what changes are going to be made. But it was a good meeting of the minds. I think that we were able to level set and really emphasize the fact that every single one of us, whether that's the city, the county, PD, the sheriff's office, the judiciary, the DA's office, we all want to see an end to these kinds of violent incidents, particularly those perpetrated to our public and our law enforcement officers by those who have had repeat offenses.
On a lighter note, Mayor, I am one of the people who uses our Greenway trail system pretty much every day. I'm on the Leon Creek Greenway using it. You are highlighting that trailway system this weekend at an event. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. It's on the day of the eclipse, which happens right before noon on Saturday. But from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday, we're going to have the first annual Mayor's Trail event. We're calling it Camino Verde. And we're going to be highlighting different sections of our great San Antonio Greenway Trail system, the Howard W. Peak Greenway Trail system. The area that we're going to be having activations and activities for folks to really learn about health and wellness and also get to know our trail system is from Southside Lions all the way up to MLK Park. And so we're asking folks to come out, enjoy some hiking and biking in the fresh air, pick up some of our eclipse glasses and hang out on the trails and get to know part of San Antonio that you didn't before, and also enjoy some activities with your neighbors. It's going to be a paperless event, so please bring your water bottles. But it's going to be a great time to be outdoors, good weather, watch the eclipse in a safe manner, and enjoy your neighbors and some recreation at the same time. Yeah,
sounds like the weather is going to be perfect for an event like that on Saturday. Mayor, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great evening.
You too. We'll be right back. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the START Center for Cancer Care here in San Antonio wants men to be aware that they can also get breast cancer.
Tonight, RJ Marquez tells us about the symptoms and risk factors for male breast cancer.
It's not nearly as common as breast cancer in women. The Centers for Disease Control says about 2,100 men are diagnosed with breast cancer and about 500 die from it every year. But doctors say the mortality rate for men with breast cancer is high because the cancer is usually caught in a later stage.
I don't know how much men like to go into their doctor and say, hey, I've got a lump on my breast, or whether they're even, looking at that.
Men experience the same symptoms as women, like a hard lump, changes in pain in the skin and nipple area, but the tumors for men are found in a different spot compared to most women.
In most men, this will happen directly behind the nipple and not sort of at the periphery, just because their breast tissue is focused into a much smaller area.
Some other risk factors for male breast cancer include liver disease, obesity, and just getting older. The CDC says most breast cancers are found after the age of 50. And then there's family history. If several of your family members have had breast or ovarian cancer, you may want to talk to your doctor about genetic counseling or test. RJ Marquez, KSAT12 News.
Look outside with live cam, still enjoying some of those cooler temperatures. And I heard somebody say today they were enjoying a nice cloudy day. Adam, like you've said, don't take them for granted after this summer.
No, after this summer, we had nothing but blue in our sky. We couldn't even pay for a cloud above us anywhere, whether it be a low-level, mid-level, or high-level cloud. So I don't take clouds for granted anymore. Drizzle and light rain tonight, minimal accumulations, then a Friday cold front to talk about, along with the viewing conditions for the Saturday's solar eclipse in just a bit.
Okay, this is finally the week. We've been talking about it for a long time. The week of the annular eclipse. And timing with this, Adam, that's key.
It is key. It looks like we'll have some clear skies, good viewing. Now, pop quiz, Myra. Ooh. Why is it referred to as an annular eclipse or ring of fire eclipse?
Because the Latin root of the word
for ring is annulus. Yes. Like a lot of cloud names, stems from Latin, right?
And I aced that
so
quiz.
Does this. Yes, totally. You did. So let's just talk a little bit about what we're talking about. You've heard a lot of buzz. We have a lot more information on KSAT.com. But this is one of the rare situations where especially it's going to be visible here in San Antonio, where this Saturday, late in the morning, the moon is going to pass in front of the sun and block out some of that sunlight, basically to the extent where it would be as if a thick cloud was moving in front of the sun. But we're not going to have that cloud. It's not a total eclipse. That's different. That comes on April 8th. That's an even bigger deal. But what it's going to look like to us is if you have the proper glasses to view it, the approved safety glasses for the eclipse or eclipse glasses, you'll notice little bright ring of 10% of the sun that's still illuminated on the outside of the moon. And that peak is going to last for about 5 minutes. And here's the timeline for you. This is important for Saturday, and another reminder throughout the extent of this, you cannot just look up at the sun without the approved appropriate eyewear, or like we like to call them, eclipse glasses. So the partial eclipse begins at 10:23. You're not going to notice a whole lot at that time. It's going to peak roughly between 11:51 a.m. and 11:56 a.m. in San Antonio. Exact times vary even just across town. The partial eclipse then ends at 1:32 p.m. One fact is that the temperature could even drop up to 10 degrees during that time frame as we hit our peak. Okay, we'll have more on that in the days ahead, and keep in mind, KSAT.com, we have an entire section dedicated to the eclipse and how you can safely view it directly and indirectly. Most of the rain right now, steady, far south of town. Dimmitt, LaSalle counties, moving into southern Frio County as well. That's the most persistent rain. A few light showers have popped up on the south side near Somerset, over toward Oak Island, and 16 here on the south side between 410 and 1604. Not a whole lot to this, and really that's it. But these will keep coming and going through the rest of the evening and through the night. We also have this Pacific moisture aloft that's helping us out. So it's a combination of factors. Low-level Gulf moisture moved in, Pacific moisture aloft, a little bit of energy. Futurecast overdoes the intensity a little bit through the night, but it's an illustration that even the computers are on board that we'll see more of these light showers coming and going through the night, and in between the light showers, some areas of drizzle. KSAT 12-hour forecast for tomorrow. 65 degrees in the morning with drizzle for the morning commute. Dampness tonight and tomorrow, but not adding up to much. By noon, we start to see breaks in the clouds at 76 degrees and then 81 in the afternoon with a mixture of sun and clouds. 82 in Von Army, 80 Stone Oak tomorrow, Lake Hills 82, Elmendorf 82 the high temperature. Then a lot of sunshine the rest of the week. We'll deal with some morning fog, but sunny afternoons, near 90 Thursday and Friday, back down into the 70s with that mostly clear sky on Saturday. And look at those mornings in the 50s, especially by Sunday.
Woohoo!
Waited all year for this.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. We'll be right back.
Today, the man accused of attacking his ex-wife and 2 young daughters, killing one of them, was back in court. Stephen Clare is charged with capital murder after allegedly killing his 11-month-old daughter. The state has not decided yet if they will pursue the death penalty in this case. Another hearing scheduled in 90 days.
Also in court, a man who helped his son and daughter move a body got an 8-year plea deal, rather. Frank Rangel pled guilty to moving the body of 19-year-old Gloria Martinez in August of last year. Rangel's son and daughter took plea deals themselves last week. As of now, nobody has been charged in Martinez's murder.
Tonight, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a man fell off an 18-wheeler and then was run over by it. It happened overnight on I-35 near Benton City Road. Deputies say that man was on top of the big rig without the driver's knowledge. BCSO tells us they believe that man who was killed was a migrant. And that is your 60-second recap.
All right, we talked about the eclipse viewing on Saturday. Should be pretty good, mostly clear sky. Now, I do want to point out temperatures are going to be going through a bit of a roller coaster. Back to near 90 Thursday and Friday. Then by Saturday, we dip back down into the upper 70s for highs. The weekend, though, feeling more fall-like.
It's all looking good at this point in the year. Thanks for watching.
See you here for the night beat.